I am representative of Collinwood for YouTube. Joel Sainz. This is my buddy Christine Pierce. This is my buddy Patrick McCray. We are here to talk some Dark Shadows, the Phoenix storyline. Diana Malay is here as Laura Collins. Uh, so Laura appears quite literally out of nowhere in the cafe where Maggie Evans works. And she's talking to Joe Haskell, and Joe Haskell looks back, and Maggie's like, oh, who is that? Oh, no. Joe's like, I don't know. She looks familiar, though. Uh, so, as they debate who it is, and later on we see Sam Evans, he sees her by sight and really recognizes. He kind of recognizes her. He's like, you got to find out who that is. You got to find out who that is. But he kind of already suspects who it is. Uh, so, what do you First of all, what do you think of Diana Malay's entrance here as Laura Collins? Because we'd only heard about her verbally, of course, through Roger, through Liz, and it was very little we heard about her. She was in like a hospital, someplace, mental hospital, I think. Um, what were your thoughts on her? Christine, you first.
Diana Malay really did a good job making herself mysterious, and the very little that we've heard about Laura and now wondering why she's here, and is she mentally stable? And yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, she definitely threw me for a loop, but still very much in that soap opera, way, the wife's back. So it was I was hooked. I was here for it.
Patrick?
She entered. She entered, and I saw it. Yes, I remember. It was very dramatic. I Julie, I don't. It's not the Barnabas entrance. Let's put it that way. But
No.
but it is given significance.
Mm-hmm.
We know that this is vital. There aren't many blondes on the show,
No.
so that's a big deal. Uh, it's interesting that someone as blonde as Roger and as blonde as she is could create a boy with significantly darker hair a bit more like Burke Devlin's. Huh. I don't know how that could have happened. Anyway, no, she does enter with the kind of bold lustiness that is required of the sort of woman who could tame a wild stallion like Roger Collins.
Indeed.
He's uh he's no ordinary man, they said at the YMCA. So yeah, so we've got that also. Um I just know that she's a presence very quickly, as characters on soap operas are. Everyone seems to already know her, and she requires very little exposition to just go right in.
Well, Maggie does talk to her, and she's asking, where you've been, and Diana Malay's character is telling her, well, were you in New York? No, I was in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, and she explains how the place got its name. It took the name Phoenix from the myth of the Phoenix, which was an Egyptian myth. She explains that. So there's the writers are tying in the Egyptian mythology here long before 1897, which is nice. So there's going to be a lot of at stake here. So you're going to have David Collins. Laura is here for her son, David. Um, no matter who the father is, she doesn't give a shit.
Well,
Uh,
no, it's her. It's no, I mean, it's her son.
it's her
And
son.
Roger is the one in question, and Roger almost died in childbirth.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. So,
Sorry.
no. So here's my next question. When, because the first time we really see any real action from Laura significantly, but then I'll get back to Sam Evans, is when she knocks out Elizabeth. I mean, Elizabeth is going to be sent to the hospital here. Was to you both, was this sort of Dark Shadows being, in a sense, unpredictable? Like you didn't know what was going to happen now.
Sure. I mean, I didn't see it coming.
Mhm.
I
The
don't.
fact that Carolyn was so young when she took over, I mean, she certainly, I don't think she was ready to do it. So, I was curious to know how she was going to pull that off because, in all actuality, it should have been Roger, but Roger was in no place to do it either. So, yeah, I mean, I was a little surprised by it. I mean, because she was gone for like the second half of Laura. So, I mean, to have that matriarch not there, it did leave a little bit of a hole. So.
Before Laura ever gets up to Collinwood, Sam Evans begins painting a woman in fire. And he's very disturbed by this. He even says, "This is not my style. Uh, this is obviously Josette forcing him to paint this to help because the ghost, though they can't physically do anything, they're going to make sure they're going to slightly recruit humans to kind of do their bidding. What are you guys' thoughts on this, Christine?
Um, yeah, I mean, Josette did a lot and was there for the Collinses, but couldn't really do it much herself. So I mean, she used a lot of humans in that in that first part of Dark Shadows, especially before Barnabas came. And but I think it's pretty unique and pretty cool that she used Sam, who kind of needed to get out of his drunken rut, to paint this picture, and I don't know, I kind of like to think she did that for him too, to kind of bring him out of his drunken slum, but so.
Not true.
You mean Sam Evans drunk? I don't understand. This is some character I've never heard of. Uh, yeah. Now, what evidence? It's been a while. What evidence do we have that Josette is the one doing this?
Because he
Do
himself,
we have a receipt?
well, we do in a sense. We have the receipt of Sam Evans, who I do believe in this sense. He says this is not my style. He even tries to. I think he tries to destroy it. He doesn't want to do it. He every time he keeps starting over, he even starts over. He keeps drawing the same thing, and he's like, I can't help it. It's like I'm not the one doing it almost.
Mm.
So we do get that.
If I were Josette, I would be saying, man, every short story that goes weird, every painting of somebody in fire, every matchbook that has a wrong digit on it with the phone number, I get blamed for it. What is this? Why? There are a lot of other ghosts. Judah Zachary, have you heard of him? He's big into the fire pictures. He loves them. He was back in the 90s. He was on altfirepictures.erotica.com. Talk to him. It's me.
But
I'm trying to suffer. And let me do it in peace. Sarah, I bet it was Sarah. She's mean.
to, but to play the other side of that, possibly it was Laura, because Laura knew that Sam knew something,
Well.
maybe
What a
just wanted to
theory.
mess with him just because.
Yes, that I like.
So
No, no, she
Okay.
doesn't. She
I,
doesn't. She
I
does end
mean,
up. Sorry, good. Yeah, she does end up burning his
um,
hands. So
in an attempt to stop him, maybe because he was getting too close, but at the same time, maybe that's just, was her method of messing with him because he took the guy out and didn't tell what he knew. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It probably was Josette, but I've always wondered if maybe it was Laura, you know,
Maybe she
maybe.
wanted
turning
Sam
her
to give her.
tricks too.
Oh, yeah, well, there we go. Uh, Maybe she wanted Sam just to give her a back rub, and he wanted the hands to be warm, and she
Maybe,
overshot the mark.
maybe so.
So Laura eventually comes up to Collinwood and she convinces Vicky to kind of help set up a meeting between her and David. So Vicky takes David outside. They're right on top of Widow's Hill, and we do see Laura, David's mother, and David backs away from her, kind of afraid of her, almost goes off Widow's Hill, and Vicky saves his ass. Uh,
But loses the rest of him.
uh,
Roger, I brought this back.
what did Jens make of David being scared of his mother here?
It's perfect.
Well,
It's great. Dramatically, it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, we've always said that, David was a little bit clairvoyant. So, I mean, even though he was a little shit, he still knew things that were happening, and, still had a sense of things that were happening. And he sensed that something was off with his mother. And but, there's that bleeding heart inside of him, which eventually was like, I love my mother. I want to be with my mother. But his first instincts were right. And, David always knew when something was happening, and about it either. So.
Yeah,
It's such a beautifully counterintuitive move that it tells us this is going to be a very disturbed storyline.
Yeah,
yes.
certainly. It's going to be a tug of war, for a mother with her child who, is technically an evil entity, but still wants to be a good mom. And, it's going to be a roller coaster of a saga. So,
do you think some of David's lethal or attempted lethal naughtiness is perhaps related to the fact that he's half fire demon?
possibly got a mean streak, that could have came from there.
That's an interesting storyline. Had the show continued, and now you've got David Hennessy in his 20s, and thank you. And what I wonder is that if they would have played, somehow he is evolving some kind of quality, and Leviathan or not Leviathan, Phoenix-esque quality, and they say, your grandfather did the same thing. We didn't talk about it, but he would have these spells that he would go through, and yeah. And then they start talking about how the North Wing burned down or something with Jameson in it. And I don't know. That's a thought.
The closest we sort of kind of get to that in a weird way is in the revival where David Collins is like going after his dad with a voodoo doll. He's like doing stuff to him. So it gives a sense that David has some sort of power.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we don't get that here, which would have been nice. Would have been cool. So we have, Bert Devlin had been seducing Carolyn. He kisses Carolyn. He kisses Victoria Winters.
He's like Richard Dawson.
And and now the shoe is kind of on the other foot. Instead of Burke being the seducer, he is the one being seduced by Laura Collins, by Dana Malay's character, and he's fallen hook, line, and sinker for all of it. What did you make of Burke here in the Phoenix storyline, Christine?
It made him so human, because up until now he's been so like gung ho about, getting his revenge and doing this and doing that. And then Laura shows up and, he's a sad sack, remembering what they had. And even though, she chose Roger because she married Roger, but I don't know. I felt like it made him so human. It's like, oh, he does have a heart. There it is. Found it. It was in Laura, So.
Yeah. Patrick?
It's great. I mean, when the foot goes on the other glove like that, and he's the one being seduced, and it's not the Joe Haskell special, but I think we were all waiting for that moment. It didn't happen, so what? It is all about inverting everything that's been set up over the past few months, turning it all inside out, and I think that's a trait Dark Shadows would really play on, for the rest of its run.
Yeah.
I can think of no examples, but I'm sure they're there.
Now, with Elizabeth collapsing and being sent to the hospital eventually, this allows the other characters on the show to even get like a bigger boost, to get more time, and you get Carolyn being the matriarch, while her mother's at the hospital. Her and Roger butt heads. And she does not want Laura, want David to go with Laura at all. She's against this, and she has say over that because Elizabeth had say over that stuff too. Um, you also have Vicky, who her and Frank Gardner are going to be sort of like a dynamic duo in a sense of being contacted by Josette. Well, Vicky is contacted by Josette, and Frank is kind of like, what's going on? And Frank Gardner is going to be the one who suggests Dr. Peter Guthrie. Uh, what did you guys make of the? Because we get a lot of character development, even more so in the Phoenix storyline, with all these characters now being even more at the forefront than what they were. Christine.
Um, yeah, we did get a lot of character development, and um, Kara and I talked about this when we talked about the Phoenix story arc. Like Carolyn did a lot of growing in a very short time while she was matriarch, because we go into this thinking, oh, she can't handle this, she's going to fall flat on her face, but she actually does a pretty good job. And it changes her personality, and it changes even the way she dressed. She starts dressing like Elizabeth, and I don't know, we saw Carolyn mature a lot in that short story arc. I mean, even finding the balls to tell Uncle off when she needed to, and I don't know, I it was something I could appreciate, because up until now she's kind of been a little shit too. So,
Yeah. Patrick?
All Carolyn needs is, someone to say, okay, you sort of have authority, and she's off. It's when she has no sense of identity. She hasn't gone to college or anything like that, so she has no sense of identity. So it's totally fitting, and it presages who she'll become in my favorite part of the Carolyn storyline, which is the first few episodes where she's been bitten by Barnabas.
Mm.
Yeah.
Which I think is just a wonderful, wonderful, weird VC Andrews kind of trip into the strange.
Yeah.
Jewel, are there flowers in your attic?
Well, that's the thing too. I mean, in a lot of ways, Carolyn's first supernatural experience is her being bit by Barnabas. She has no ghost encounter. Laura in this storyline does nothing physically to her. The person that Laura eventually goes after is Dr. Peter Guthrie. She makes threats towards Vicky. So, but speaking of Dr. Peter Guthrie, uh, he'll show up here, but he doesn't show up making blind accusation. He actually shows up and conducts, well, hell, an investigation. He's a parapsychologist, after all. This is Dr. Julia Hoffman before Dr. Julia Hoffman in a lot of ways. So, what did you folks make of this character, Christine?
Peter Guthrie was refreshing when he came on, because he's not the typical doctor who comes in and just starts making diagnosis, starts making accusations. He wants to come in and get it organically and just ask questions, and that was so refreshing and smart. It wasn't like one of these butthole doctors who thinks they know everything. He goes in saying, no, I don't know everything, that's why I want you to tell me everything, I want to hear it all. And a character definitely cut down too short, like too soon. And yeah, I think I said this last week when we were talking about it, but Peter Guthrie, he was Julia before Julia, but he was kind of like Stokes before Stokes too. And so to get the combination of the two of them before those two characters actually came on the show was kind of cool.
Yeah. Patrick?
Peter Guthrie is a wonderful character. Dark Shadows is a show that largely works by most of the people having no idea what's going on. And you just want to wake them up. You just want to have a meeting with them and get out a pamphlet and get out a whiteboard and kind of, okay, now this is, just bring them up to speed. but it doesn't happen. So it's so refreshing when there's a character who he knows the score. And again, like Stokes, um, uh, sort of like Julia, um, with a higher voice. Uh,
Yeah.
and so I enjoyed those aspects about him, and I wonder if they had known exactly the direction the show would have gone in, if they would have kept him around. And the answer is no, because then they get the weird kind of child molester looking guy. I hate to say that, but we
Sorry.
know who we're talking about. Especially he's trying to feed the lines to poor Sharon Smith and the muzzle. It's just creepy as hell. And they, of course, now he has the raincoat, and now he has hair that looks like it was combed with buttered toast. And yeah, I mean that's just begging the guy to be fired. Peter Guthrie's kind of dashing in his own way, in the very sort of intellectual pipe smoking, arched eyebrow Reed Richards, Russell Johnson type. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Absolutely. I do like the fact that he asks about, hey, is there anybody who knows this area very well? And Carolyn says, yes, Joe Haskell does. And so they recruit old Joe Haskell, and as Joe comes up to Collinwood, he goes, hey, what do you need? I need you to dig up a body. You need me to what? Um, you know, till so poor
Yeah,
Joe.
Joe does it.
Joe does it. He gets roped into this thing, and he does it. God damn it! So Joe digs up a grave. What did you guys think of Joe digging up a grave here, Christine?
His first best destiny.
He actually, yeah, he actually surprised me in that way because he was so mad, that Carolyn was giving him the runaround and got himself drunk and went up there and yelled at Elizabeth too,
I love
but
that episode.
it did show his loyalty, Oh, me too. I love it. It's one of my favorite Joe Haskell moments, um but it showed his loyalty. He was able to put his being hurt and being mad aside to, okay, this is really friggin' weird, but if you say so, I'm gonna do it. So I don't know. It was kind of a shining moment for Joe, I thought, because he's such a meathead, and it was
It
nice to
is.
see him do something
Yes,
outside of the
perfect.
meathead. So
Perfect. I came up with a drink for Joe Haskell, for Collinsport Historical Society. We never ended up writing about. You had those Collinsport cocktails. And the
mm,
Joe Haskell, it was really good. I had it. I mean, I quality tested all of these, at length. And his was Screwball peanut butter whiskey, which, if you've ever had it, is really good.
it is.
Uh, and a little bit of Chambord.
Okay.
So it was a peanut butter and jelly. And Joe is a
Yum.
peanut butter and jelly kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
Was.
American, baseball playing kind of guy.
Yeah,
yeah.
he was. That's perfect.
Yeah.
What did you think of Joe Haskell being used here, Patrick?
He's just hanging around anyway. Sure, I'll take a body. I'm bored. I finally get in on some of the really cool stuff. It used to be Buzz. I think Buzz was
Yeah,
probably used a lot more than we knew. I Speaking of Joe Haskell,
Gosh.
Buzz is a character I really desperately wish had stayed around for the series. He would have kept Willie in check, and he would have been the new who's the guy? Frank Tashlin. Who went off the cliff? Frank.
Frank Schofield,
No, the actor, the character, the one that everybody, the bearded guy with
Bill
the
Malloy.
Bill
Bill
Malloy.
Malloy.
Yeah, he would have been given Bill Malloy's job, and everyone would have been baffled. Liz, why? But yet somehow Buzz would have kept everything in line. Exactly, he would have dressed the same, had the same haircut, but he would have taken care of business for Liz like nobody's business. He would have been very loyal to
Hmm. There are some very, very cool effects in the Phoenix storyline. We have Laura appearing in Liz's room. Look, like they have her head literally appear in the room, which is really cool. We get Sam Evans's hands burnt. We get a fiery effect at the end of the series. We get the effect of the car being set on fire in a sense. So, what's you guys' favorite special effect in the Phoenix storyline, Christine?
Um, I think I'm gonna go with the burning shack at the end of the arc, because that is what grabbed my emotion the most, and not just the burning shack, but the whole exchange in the burning shack, and just the fire made it so like you understand what's going on. She is
Yeah.
getting ready to be reborn, and this is it for her. And I don't know. I think it proved the point, got the point across. So yeah.
I would agree. Those gas pipes under the camera doing their job. And that's a real
Mhm.
effect. That's practical. Now what I wonder is when her head appeared in the bedroom, did other parts of her body appear in other places in college? Is the sort of thing where you got to take all of me. I'll try and find abandoned rooms for my hand to appear and my legs to appear, and that. So maybe you just cut. This is why I'd be a terrible producer of Dark Shadows, because in those scenes it would cut to other rooms of the house where there would just be her body parts floating in the air.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's
Mrs.
your
Johnson, wait,
I
come
mean,
back, come back! Don't take that one away.
not on the lunch tray, lady? What's your you have a favorite special effect, Patrick?
I said the burning shack.
The burning shack. Okay.
Yeah, shack
Uh,
burning USA.
mine's the death of Guthrie. I mean, it's so big. Um, knowledge is power, but also if you have knowledge, you're going to be killed off. In the car, he says, "I can't see. I can't see." The car returns. It catches fire. Really, really great job.
His
Um,
ice cream truck is out there somewhere.
it's yeah, yeah.
I'm
Um,
sorry, that's terrible.
burn, baby, burn. Uh, oh my goodness.
Why him? Why that actor? What were they thinking
I
in
don't know.
replacing him with him? I mean, come on, guys. Have you not seen who Peter Guthrie's been for the entirety of the series? He's
Yeah,
he's the Dick Sargent of these climates. He's
yeah,
dashing and so on. By the way, Dick Sargent I think made a much better Darren than Dick York. It's a controversial stance, but Elizabeth Montgomery, come on, who's she gonna pick?
yeah, yeah.
I rest my
Uh,
case.
what's some of you guys' favorite scenes
could
from
be on board.
from this storyline specifically?
All the stuff
I'm gonna
about
have to go back to the burning shack, honestly. Go ahead. Sorry. I want to
oh
hear
no,
this.
the investigation stuff where they find out that the body was burned in Phoenix, and
Yeah,
well, how could you be in both places at once? That was very eerie for me
yeah,
because mythology does not really have a phoenix the way that it's described in Dark Shadows. It's a very
no,
original monster, essentially, and that was the moment that I really realized, oh, we're dealing with a much more twisted and malevolent entity
yeah,
than we thought
Yeah.
previously.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We definitely are.
Agreed. Yeah. I think you're
Uh,
right. And sorry.
no, good.
You know?
I, I think I mean you're right, because I mean I don't think I've ever seen or heard of a phoenix described the way that we saw it in Dark Shadows. Like they took the phoenix, but they totally made it their own, and you know gave her this personality, this like menacing personality, and but then made her a mom too. And I don't know, that I connected with, because it's like, yeah, she's got her, yeah, she's technically an evil being, but she's just waiting for that kid to run into her arms, and that's why I say the shack at the very end of the saga, because as a mom, that grabbed me personally, and actually made me shed a few tears. And but David was gonna die, I mean, the save the kid and sacrifice his mom, or let the sacrifice the kid and let him be with his mom, and it's just, man, that was a
Didn't,
roller coaster for
didn't,
me. So
yeah, but didn't you wonder at the same time what existence would have been for David once he went through that?
Yeah,
true. Very
Yeah.
true.
And you
Very
just
true.
don't know, is it worth it? Because
yeah,
of this godlike being I become on the other end? Am I like Apollo? Or am I midnight at the Apollo? I don't know.
Mhm.
And there was no guarantee that it was going to work because David Radcliffe or whatever just died. He burned up in the flames and didn't become, that we
Well,
know of, became
that
a
we
phoenix.
know of. I mean,
Yeah.
That we know of.
it's not like he's going to be appearing, twice nightly at the Blue Whale. We don't know
True.
what entity. He would have become something on some other dimensional level.
Mhm.
Yeah, very true.
Uh, one of my favorite scenes in this, it's an effect in a way, is when Laura Diana Malay's character and David Hennessy, David Collins are in the shack or in Matthew Morgan's cottage, where her character is living. She's holding David, and the ghost of Josette appears, reaches out to David. He's mine, Josette. He's mine. And we get the acknowledge of she knows Josette. Really, really awesome. Really, really cool. I love that scene. It's chilling too, in its own way. Uh,
Well,
but
we
yeah,
have to remember that both of these girls used to be Jeremiah's wife.
yeah, yeah.
So
Now, is there
maybe
any
each other.
evidence? Is there any evidence in the timeline that she was on the Martinique trip, or was that after her death or disappearance or whatever?
I don't
Because
know.
I don't know.
it'd be interesting if she actually did know Josette,
Yeah.
Yeah, it would
I,
be.
because she would have been the entree to the family. She would have been the closest equivalent.
I
You
think
know,
Yeah.
I think once Josette, I don't think necessarily she. I'm going to take a stab at this, and again, I could be wrong, so please forgive me. I don't think she and Josette personally knew each other when Josette was alive. But once Josette died, Josette found out certain information that she didn't know. Because of being married to Jeremiah, maybe they let her know, hey, this went on here.
Mm,
So who knows? It's a good question, because
it is a good question.
Barnabas was like a little boy when he met Laura. He was like 9.
Hmm.
yeah.
He was a kid, so there would have been Josette wouldn't have been around then. So, but so that's a very interesting one to think about, though. It really is.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, the shack scene is really, really amazing. What did Now we also get a character introduction of the caretaker. What did you guys think of the caretaker, Christine?
Um, the caretaker, batty old guy, but if you're listening to him, he knows what he's talking about, you know. I mean, everybody just saw him as he's such a kook and he's such a, you know, but he knew what he was talking about and his information actually helped and gave them what they needed, you know. So, uh,
I have a
kooky.
theory.
Okay.
I have a theory. It's harebrained and can be disproved 8 ways to Sunday, but it's not like the show is a slave to continuity at this point. Um, I pitched this to Big Finish at one point, but it's about the origin of the caretaker,
Okay.
and that Willie Loomis, to save someone or something like that, has to sacrifice something and get stranded back in time. And the only thing he can really think of to do is he's a job opening. And he's the caretaker, and he's been the caretaker forever. He's way back in time. And so this is an appropriately aged Willie Loomis who's kind of gone mad, being there, but always saw ghosts and spirits and kind of knows where things are going to go, especially the Judah Zachary attack. And is in his madness, because I'm sure the time trip was not easy on his brain, uh, has been trying to warn people ever since. But they're also his friends, his companions. And yeah,
That's clever.
yeah, it's old Willie Loomis.
Yeah,
That's clever. I like that.
Yeah.
I
awesome,
dig it.
awesome, awesome. Uh, I'm trying to think of everything we missed. Oh, we do see finally Burke break out of Laura's sort of spell in a sense after Vicky talked. Vicky is sort of the one who brings a lot of people around, like Burke. Heart between Guthrie, Vicky, and Carolyn, they all bring sort of Roger around to what's kind of going on in a
Well, only
sense.
so much.
Yeah, but enough, right? So we do finally get everybody kind of going against Laura now, but Laura doesn't give a shit. They hold two seances in this whole story arc. That's right. The Phoenix storyline produces the first ever seance at Collinwood, where Vicky's speaking French. It's another scene I love, and you have Diana Blaze sort of staring at Victoria Winters evilly, if you will. So, what did you guys make of the seances here in these story arcs?
I love when Guthrie, like, Vicky was speaking French and Vicky doesn't speak French. And Roger's like, Laura, you speak French. What did she say? Oh, I don't know. She was murmuring, she was mumbling, and nothing she said makes sense. And Dr. Guthrie was like, well, I speak French too, and I know exactly what she said. I love it. So I Dr. Guthrie came through. He was quick like that, and it just made me love him all the more. I mean, that scene right there, he shined. He shined. But
What she was really saying was that Jerry Lewis was a genius.
that's what I'm
The
saying.
French are obsessed. The French are obsessed with Jerry Lewis. So that's all she could talk about. Well, they're great. It was probably for me the scariest and most evocative of the seances on the show, especially because it was the first. And even if you've seen the show, this for me, personally, even if you've seen the show over and over again, there is a sense of newness and there is a sense of risk and unpredictability to this seance, especially. Now, I have a theory. These spirits are kind of bound by the seance ritual to appear. There's something about them that, we think that they're in charge. They're not. They've been drawn from wherever they are.
Mhm.
So if you held multiple seances for the same ghost in the house at the same time, could it rip it apart? Could the process of having to appear at more than one seance at once actually destroy, because now you're bound in two or three different places? Or is it like a sitcom where someone has a date with two different people and they run back and forth between the booths, putting a tie on and, being there for a little while and then, taking the tie off, running to the other table, with a different date time. I don't know. But I like that
I kind of
too.
like that idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, the other seance too is in the old house, but this time it's Sam Evans who is there with David Collins, Victoria Winters. Uh, Dr. Guthrie does not make it there. This is where he gets killed off. And it almost goes like to hell from there because I mean, once that's in the shed, you think, man, is she gonna take David with her? I mean, the shed's on
Yeah.
fire.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
It
holy
wasn't
shit!
it wasn't the first time Sam Evans communed with the spirits in the old house. I think he probably made a real habit of it for a while.
You may
Staying
have.
away from his wife.
Uh,
Sam,
yeah.
are you drinking in there?
But that shack
That
sequence,
was
yeah, that
kind
the
of
burning
spirit.
shack sequence is awesome. Um,
Now, Joel, for me, I prefer the shack sequences in Kazam.
oh, yeah, oh,
Maybe Steel.
yeah. Oh my god, I have no more questions. Is there anything you guys want to add before we go?
I do like how this whole situation, because at one point Roger was like, yeah, take David. That would just make my life grand. Please just take David,
Yeah, just
Take my
take
son,
And
please.
it literally it would it would solve so many issues for him, whatever the case was with Roger, because at that point in time he was not a terrific dad. He wasn't even an okay dad. He was a terrible father.
It's just like, quiet, Vicky. I think she has a point. Let her
Exactly.
finish. Let her finish.
Exactly.
yeah,
And Vicky's thinking she's out of a job, but by the end of this whole thing, Roger's going in to check on David to make sure he's okay. Like this
yeah.
whole thing just like changed him, and I don't. That's all it took. I mean, Laura should have showed up sooner. If that's what it was
Yeah.
going to take. So I don't know.
What tough love.
I mean,
The
character
worst,
development.
before that, I figured, Roger would be packing his bags. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
well, you're going to need this on the other side, and these comic books as well. No, this one's collectible, but the rest you can have.
And you do get a Burt
Mhm.
Devlin, Roger Collins brief alliance a bit.
Which is always funny to see. My favorite being when they have to deal with Matthew Morgan and
Yeah.
the question of guns and so on and so forth. And David is just doing a vaudeville routine. It's like, well, maybe I'll tell you. No, I don't think so. Davey, come on, anything, just some initials. Use your hook,
Mhm.
count it out, anything. No, you're gonna punish me. I won't punish you.
Mhm.
That's it. So, oh my gosh.
This is where
I call
when
my
I
own child Davy because of Burke.
when
I'm saying.
occasionally when I would interact with people, I would wind up online and I'd get some joker who'd want to Dark Shadows isn't a sitcom. I said, well, no, it's not a sitcom, you literalist putz, but it has moments of sitcomery and
It does.
sitcomism, and that episode where they're desperately trying to get this information out of David is just bloody funny.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's okay. People should understand one thing. Okay, it's a gothic horror soap opera, right? Horror and comedy go hand in hand. It's all about timing.
It
So,
is.
so there you go.
Yeah.
Links to Between the Shadows and Dark Shadows podcast will be in the description box. Links to Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows Day Book of Battle will be in the description box. Uh, guys, gals, thank you both so much for joining me. This has
Thank
been a
you.
blast.
Christen,
Yes, it has been.
you dazzle. You
Thank
dazzle.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's a compliment.
No, thank you. You're right. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I've been a little unhinged as of late, as you can probably
I
imagine.
understand. I understand.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good night, folks.
You
Take care.
guys as well.
Bye.
Bye.